We're dealing with it as best as possible, you know. I don't think that people have a clear understanding that we're dealing with two people here. There's R. Kelly, the persona, and then there's Robert, the person. Myself and my daughter, we're connected to Robert, the person. So it is very personal, him being my ex-husband and the father of my children. So it's difficult, but I think that it is needed. It's saving lives, it's changing lives, and we stand in the gap. Well, in the beginning, Robert, the person, he was funny. He had the best mama jokes ever. We started out as friends, and it evolved into a relationship. He was very broken. He shared intimate secrets with me about being abused as a child, dealing with illiteracy. Domestic violence was commonplace in his home, and the thing that drew us was the fact that my grandfather, who was a Baptist preacher, was the first time I ever saw a man put his hands on a woman. He was abusive to my grandmother. So fast forward, Robert and I are in an abusive relationship. It's not foreign to me. It's what I know. It's what I grew up in. It's what he grew up in. So being able to see the person, Robert, the broken part of him, and then there's this persona who portrays this confident, in control man, which is total opposite of what he is. Well, first I'd like to say there's a difference between portraying sympathy, which I do not portray. I portray understanding because I know him in such a way because I was married to him. I'm a firm believer that just because you grew up in a household where abuse was prevalent and you were abused, it does not give you a free pass to be an abuser. So I want to make that very clear. It's devastating and it's hard because I wear two hats. I sit here as not only a survivor, but also the mother of his children. So it's very difficult for me, but I also know my position, and I know that coming forward brings validity to these young women and young girls' stories. And being a mother, I could not say anything after 10 years of my life going by and thinking I've made it out of the storm, and then here come more allegations, and they ring true to my life. And me and these women, we don't know each other. So how could we have the same stories about the same man and not know each other? So again, my story is coming from that of understanding because I know his background, but it also comes from standing as a survivor and an advocate. I believe that he is abusive. I can't confirm or deny these women's stories because, again, I have not lived it personally. All I can say is what rings true to my life. Every experience is different. I wasn't there when it happened to some of these women, but what I can say, what rings true to my life is what I can speak on. I don't know the other women's background, so I don't know if they grew up in a household where domestic violence and abuse was commonplace as to why they may have ended up or stayed as long as they did, or, you know, I just can't speak to that. I can only speak to my truth, and my truth is what I survived. He was abusive to me verbally, emotionally, physically, sexually, and as we stand today, he's financially abusing me. He stopped paying child support when I came forward in June of 2018. So, you know, I can only speak to my story and what rings true to what I hear.
Okay.
Yeah,
and I feel that something has to be done.
Well, particularly about the situation that is happening in the blogs and, you know, everything, all the allegations that are going around, it's very hard to digest because, as a lot of people know, in the posts that I posted as far as my reaction to everything that's happening, that's still my father. It's a very hard situation to digest and even process because my heart is torn into two separate places. As my mother said, I don't want to confirm or deny anything that the women have been saying about my father or any of the rumors that have been going around throughout the years about my father. But as I said, I know him. He's my father. I grew up in that house to a certain extent. So I spent years in that house. And so it's very painful to see that all of these people are now being affected and have been affected by somebody who I do care about and have a very strenuous relationship with and is so close to me. So right now, I mean, like I said, I'm very torn because at the end of the day, it's still family. He's still my blood. So yes, I do still love my father, and that is something that I want people to understand. I never came out and said what I said to make people feel like I hate him or I'm bashing him, because that's not it. But you have to, at the end of the day, be responsible for your actions, and I had to do what was best for me, and my family had to do what was best for them. And if my father is a toxic person, then unfortunately we just have to love him from a distance. There's no love lost, but I just had to separate myself.